These are our life's aha moments from the perspective and experiences of two Christian women who are focused on creating a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ.
Join us as we share and discuss insights we have learned and provide tools to empower you on your journey of intentional creation. Welcome to another episode of Ahas, Awakenings, and Applications. I am Leann.
And I'm Melissa.
Thank you for choosing to share some time with us today. We are grateful for your support, and we would like to ask you to help us to expand the reach of our podcast by subscribing, following, and sharing it with others. So grateful to be able to have a conversation with you, Melissa, as we wrap up our health series. And today on our episode, we will be talking about simple habits to create lifestyle changes. And what a great way to wrap up our health series with this topic. I think so many of us know a lot of the things that we need to be doing to create healthy habits, but I think it's always a great reminder to be able to review what those things are and where we might be missing some things, maybe the gaps that we have in making those changes, because our minds are wired to feel safety. It often keeps us stuck right where we are. And
it's comfortable.
So when we think about some of the things that we can do to start creating those healthy habits and thinking about, overcoming those things in our mind that prevent us from moving forward, there are tools that we can use to help us. And I feel like I'm often mentioning tools, but I love them because they really do help me to be successful in moving forward and transforming. So thinking about simple habits that I like to use and routines that I like to create. So I have daily routines. I think we all do. And I think it's really important to have a morning routine and an evening routine so that we can set up our day and finish our day in the way that we want. So having those intentions set before us and creating those routines to help us to accomplish those intentions. When I think about my morning routine, it just seems to change often. A lot of it depends on my mood. There's definitely certain things that I do and are not really optional.
Yes.
Right. I don't think there's anything that I do that people probably haven't heard of before. So when I start out my day, I love to, I grab my oils. I grab essential oils and I use them right away. And I feel like that really helps to just get me out of bed and get me going for the day and help to clear my mind. I also like to do meditation. Meditation is really important to me. I don't always get that time. Just depends on what's going on around me. But taking that time to just slow my mind down and prepare for my day has made a huge difference. I no longer struggle with the anxiety that I used to really struggle with. And that was a big part of that, using meditation and oils.
That has been huge for me as well.
Yeah. And part of that is my study time. Taking care of my spirituality in the morning is not optional for me. So I use that time to study scriptures, to pray, to meditate, and I use oils while I do that as well. And I'm doing journaling. Those are all just really simple things to set up my day and my morning. And of course, taking supplements is a part of that too. And I used to be really horrible at taking supplements. Just was not consistent at first. And now I can say that I am very consistent with that.
Well, I just put them where I'm going to use them. So I have a place on my counter in the kitchen. So I just know that when I start, when I take my supplements, they're all right there. I don't have to go find them or, go to 15 different places in my house. They're just all right
Yes.
there. And the different oils I use for different things are where I'm using them. So I have
Yes,
some
I
in my
have them
bathroom.
everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're in the bathroom, they're by my bed, they're on my refrigerator. I have a little magnet that holds them for those daily use. And I have some in a cupboard that I'm always getting into in the kitchen. I have them in my office. I have them in my purse. I have
Yes.
them in my car.
Yes.
I have them everywhere,
Yeah.
literally.
So they're
Uh,
always there.
they're always there. You can just reach for them and be reminded to use them,
Hmm.
which I think is so very helpful. Another thing that we can do as we go throughout our day is make connections. Well, we haven't talked about that very much throughout this series, but this is really something that science has shown. It lengthens our life and the quality of our health. So we will live longer, but we can live healthier longer
And
by making
happier.
and happier. Overall happiness is, I don't know
Right.
what the percentage is, but it is quite large. And so, really finding ways to make connections. And
I
I
think that's
know,
so.
so many people, especially right now, I think feel disconnected from one another.
Hmm.
And finding ways to improve those connections that you have or making new connections is, it's really detrimental to your happiness and health. Some other things, I don't know. So really just taking that time to get off of your devices and
Yes.
and using
Talk to
that.
people.
Yeah. And I think something that I've become aware of, and I think we've mentioned this before, I've mentioned this, is I love to learn. So I could spend my time just taking all this time to learn
We
instead
do.
of getting out there and practicing or using the things that I've learned. And so trying to really be aware of that and using that to help me make those connections. Um, Remember, he wants us to learn, but he also wants us to go out and use that learning to bless the lives of other people. So I think that's really important also.
Yeah. I was just thinking the other day, I don't know where this thought came to my mind, but I do remember when texting first came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even know it was an option. I didn't even know what it was. And I we went on this vacation and we were visiting some old friends that had moved, and she showed me how to do it. And I was like, why would I want to do this? Why would I want to text? I can just call someone and talk to them. And it
Uh-huh.
took me a long time to even use it because I just thought it was so ridiculous. And now it's so funny that I hardly ever call someone. I just text people. And I was just thinking the other day, I just need to start calling and connecting with people instead of texting because you just don't get the same interaction with a text. You don't really know how people are feeling. You either, there's so much to do with our facial expressions, the influxes of our voice. All of that is such a huge part of our communication, and we don't have that
Mm-hmm.
with the interaction we're getting on our devices. We're missing out on those social cues.
Yes, I actually had a friend recently challenge me to make phone calls to people
Good
instead of
for her.
texting, and
Yeah.
I have to say, almost immediately I felt more connected to the people that I
Mm,
talked to, and it was so stark that it kind of surprised me a little bit because I was like, oh yeah, I don't mind texting now, but I think I was like you, I was very slow to learn to do that and start using it and very minimal. And now it has become a very common way for me to communicate. I
mhm.
sometimes think that's easier, but I think in the long run, it's not. It
Right.
really only takes a couple minutes to get on the phone and talk to somebody and hear their voice and just really make that connection. I don't think we get that deeper connection when we are
Yeah,
not hearing someone's voice or making that connection.
we don't. I think there's so much more to that. Just, even if it's on a phone call, you get that voice inflection, you get the
Yeah.
emotion, you feel, there's just that, there's something to that.
It's a lot easier to misread
Mhm.
something when you're texting than if you're having
Oh,
that
yeah.
conversation. And you can really converse when you're on the phone, right? When you're on the phone talking to somebody,
Mhm.
it's a two-way conversation that's kind of immediate. A lot of times when people text me, I might not answer right away, and then they may not answer right away. So it can take all day to get a few sentences in. Whereas, just making that phone call and taking some time. And
Mhm.
really, I think um, another great way that we can make some changes is to have a gratitude journal and
Mhm.
really make time to think about the things that we are so grateful for. That's one of the great ways to really raise your energy and to really take a good look at your life and to be able to appreciate the things that you do have. I find I'm so much happier when I have
Yes.
much more gratitude in my heart.
Gratitude.
When I start complaining, I know that I'm not taking the time to be more grateful. And that
hmm
is a big cue to me.
I think I was a day last week and I was just stressed. There was a lot of things going on. We had family coming in town and I was trying to get everything ready and I was just like things weren't working out the way I wanted them to. And I finally just stopped and said, "Whoa, wait a minute. I am not where I want to be." I
Yeah.
think just that awareness, and we've talked about that so many times, just that awareness of just stopping, just I actually just stopped what I was doing right then and there and said, "This is not where I want to be. This is not the energy I want to create right now." And so I just stopped and said a prayer, and I did. In that prayer, I just started to go into gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful that my family's going to be here. I'm so grateful for all these things. I'm so grateful for, and things shifted right then and there. And I was able to, for the rest of the day, change the way it might change my attitude, and things just started going so much better.
Yeah, right. I agree. Just really bringing that light into our lives as much as possible.
hmm And I
Uh,
heard that gratitude actually is a higher vibration than love.
I've heard that too. And I think that's so amazing to me. I
Yeah.
would not have guessed that.
Yeah. So, but it brings it, but I think it also brings it to love. Everything, when we're grateful, it brings us back to that love.
It really does, doesn't
And
it?
I feel that that brings me back to Christ so fast when
It
I'm
does.
grateful.
It definitely does. I also was thinking about taking the time we've talked about movement in a previous episode. And I love getting out in nature when I want to be out moving about. I think that nature is so grounding to be out in
hmm
God's creations and really appreciating them. I think that is when I'm out in nature, the gratitude just flows. Um,
hmm
and so this last weekend, my husband and I went up to our son's property. They're buying a piece of property and going to put a house on it. And I was with my little granddaughter, and we were sitting in a chair, and she was looking up at the sky. And we were underneath all these trees, so you could see all the leaves moving. And we just sat in this chair and appreciated the view. She just
mm
would not stop looking. And I just thought, oh, I'm so grateful that she has reminded me to look up and not be so involved in what's happening down here in front of me, but to take that time to look up and just appreciate the wonders that our Heavenly Father has given to us through nature.
Yeah. I need to do that more, getting into nature. It's a little bit harder where I am living at the current moment to get into, well, I guess, I don't know, I guess I need to change what I consider nature.
You're still in nature. It's just a
Yes,
different landscape.
just being outside is nature, but I think there's so much to just getting out and breathing air outside.
hmm
My husband and I were just sitting on the back porch last night and looking at the sky, and there were a lot of birds out, and and the sun was starting to set, and it was just beautiful. And we were just enjoying that. It was just a beautiful evening, and just enjoying that our conversation out on the back porch. It
Mm-hmm.
was wonderful. And it would have been totally different if we had been inside.
Oh, right, right. I think it helps with that connection, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It really does. So kind of magnifies that connection, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. Yeah. So another thing that we can do, just having a support person in your life or a support group, those people that you can turn to when you need it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's super important to have that, whether they're near or far.
Right.
Just having those people that you trust and can help you to, those people that you can share anything with and you don't feel judged or,
You can just be yourself.
yeah, just be who you really are and
Yeah.
feel
And
good about that.
have that conversation when you just need to talk about something. And
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is so important. So those are just some of the things. Well, we didn't talk about like just slowing down. We talked about meditation, but maybe taking that time to slow down from our busy lives and create some awareness and just give yourself some space to just be. I think that's really, really important. Um,
mm,
I I think that I've learned so much about myself when I take that time to do that, to just be. Um, Heavenly Father has so many messages that he wants to share with us. And
yes.
if we're showing him that we're willing to listen and he will share those things with us. I think it's really amazing.
Yeah. I love at the end of the day just to take some time to reflect on the day.
Hmm.
Things that what have I learned? I have like a journal where I just have some questions that I ask myself every evening
Hmm.
and just write down the answer. And what did I learn today? Who impacted me today? Where did I see the Lord's hand in my day? I have a section where I put all the things I'm grateful for that day. And it just kind of winds down the day, just and then it kind of sometimes will change my attitude.
Hmm.
Maybe if I haven't taken the time to change my attitude during the day, it's like, oh, actually, this was a lot better than I thought it was. And I
I
can
love that.
see where the Lord did change things and He was there. And
Yeah, I love that because that helps you to focus your heart and mind throughout the day because you're going to be asking yourself those questions before you go to bed at night.
mm-hmm. That
I
is true.
think, I think having questions that you ask yourself regularly, I think is really fun. I know that I believe it's Elder Bednar. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Who said that asking great questions leads to great answers. And that might be a different apostle. Anyway,
I thought it was Uchtdorf,
was it
but
Uchtdorf?
I think so. But I'm not, I
Okay.
don't even, yeah, I'm not sure on that one
We'll
either.
have to put that in the notes. And I do love that. When I hear great questions, somebody will say, I think I thought of Elder Bednar because he does often when he
He does.
teaches and talks, he has really great questions. And
Mm-hmm.
so whenever I listen to a talk by one of our church leaders and I hear a great question, I'm like, I'm going to write that down and use that.
I should
Um,
make a questions list.
yeah, I have one
I
in one
don't.
of my
That's
journals somewhere. My mini journals. I need to go and find it though, but it I really like that asking yourself that at the end of the evening. What a great way to round out your day and put that
hmm.
focus back where it we want it to be. And I think the one of the last things that I'm thinking of is partnering with Christ
Hmm.
as we create these simple habits. He will help you and he will guide you to what you need to improve.
Hmm.
And I think when we do it alone, it's so much harder. But with him, it really helps he motivates me to do better and
Right.
gives me that encouragement that I need so often.
Hmm. And I think it changes. My routines have changed in the different times of my life. When
Yeah.
I had babies and little kids, it was a lot harder to do what I do now. I didn't do all the things I do now because I just didn't have the time. But I always
Right.
did prioritize scriptures. Maybe sometimes I left um, a set of scriptures right by in the bathroom. So when I was going to the
Mhm.
bathroom, I would read my scriptures because sometimes that's what I could do.
You're
So
right.
it's finding the things that you can do now, the things that
Right.
fit with your lifestyle. If you work full time, that's a different thing as well. I'm grateful I have a little bit more. I work can work around my own schedule.
Hmm.
um, so I'm grateful for that at this point in my life. But there were other times where there's a lot of things I did in my bathroom because I could lock the door and the kids couldn't get
I
in.
was thinking about that the other day too, actually. I hadn't thought about it in a long time, but locking the door and watching the little fingers underneath the door poking out at me as you're just trying to have a moment to gather your
Yes.
thoughts and uh
Sometimes I would just turn the shower on and
yeah.
then they thought I was showering.
I used to pray in the shower. I would
Oh
pray in the
yeah.
shower. So that'd
I
be,
I
it
still
was
do that.
really a really easy way to get those prayers in
Yeah.
undisturbed.
Or praying when I was taking them to places or
Hmm.
you can find ways to put things in that are important to you. And the
Yeah.
Heavenly Father will help you find that time.
And I really think that is the big takeaway today is we're not saying that you need to do all these things
Mm,
because it may not be reasonable for you, but really just taking a look at this list and saying, where am I at? What needs to change? And
mhm.
I was watching the women's BYU women's conference this last weekend. And in one of the talks, I believe, I'm not going to quote which one because I don't really know, but they were talking about, you know, doing what, not beating yourself up, because our
Mm,
worth never changes, right? So maybe we are doing all these things and we're spiraling up. But those days that we don't get to those important things, we might start to spiral down. But remember that our worth is always the same. It does not change. And our Heavenly Father loves us so much, no matter where we're at. He will take us where we are. And if we
mhm.
partner with Him, He will help us to reach those new heights and He will help us reach our goals. He wants us to be happy, He wants us to be
Right.
healthy.
And he makes up, he loves effort. And if we admit it's just a little teeny bit,
Yep.
whatever you can do, whatever you can give,
Your small part.
yep, he will
Absolutely.
take, and then he will take it and magnify it.
Uh-huh. I love that. He is a magnifier.
Ooh, I love
So
that. Yeah, he is.
he is a magnifier. Yeah,
Mhm.
he absolutely is. So, did we already give a challenge?
No, we didn't. An invitation?
An invitation? Sorry, I still call it a challenge once in a while. What should we challenge our listeners to do today?
Um, Maybe pray about what things they can add or take out of their life that will be helpful for them to create these habits that will, create more health, like all the things we've been talking about and the last several weeks. And then it's all these different areas of life, so what are these, maybe choose one thing you can do in each area. So maybe your health, spiritually, physically, emotionally, what can you do to create a routine that works for you?
Hmm. Yeah, and I would add to that, the good, better, best was mentioned at
Mm,
the women's conference, and really focusing on what is best for you at this time.
yes.
I think that will be really helpful. So, no matter where you're at, just start.
Yeah, start. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this whole thing is just start somewhere.
Just start somewhere and really love yourself through it. It's not going to be perfect.
Mm-mm.
Embrace the messiness of it. I am so grateful that we have done this health series. It has been really wonderful to be able to discuss each level of the wellness pyramid and to really just draw some attention to these areas that we can help other people. And I
Mm-hmm.
hope that our listeners were able to really gain a lot from the things that we've talked about over these last several weeks.
Yeah. And I think it's been good for me too, to be reminded.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot
Me
of
too.
times I just take things for granted because it's just what I've been doing for so long.
Yep.
But now it's like, oh yeah, I remember when I started. I remember that kit that came in the mail and it took me 2 weeks to open it because I had no idea how to use these oils.
Those beginning steps, they were very clumsy and fumbly.
Yes, yes. But, it just took that one step at a time. And I think that's the important thing is just remember it just takes one step at a time.
Yes. Well, thank you, Melissa. I have
Thank you,
enjoyed
Leann.
talking with you.
Join us for our next episode as we talk about choosing Christ as your guide through challenges and the benefits of building a relationship with Him. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow or share with others so we are easier to find. Check out our show notes for each episode in your podcast app or YouTube, and join us on Instagram for more daily content at Awakenings Podcast.